our main topic is this microservices and angel framework. So what is microservice exactly? I think from like couple of like months we are like hearing this word like very like commonly, that microservice, like creating APIs and like using microservice structure architecture, not monolithic. So what exactly this microservice? So microservice is a project which acts as a component, like that can be used anywhere as an individual like component. Say suppose we have security system, that's a separate project, but where we can use the same as a module in any of the applications, because that's a microservice. So a set of like a project which has it's independent and it is not depending on anything, which has like scalability and which is like very easy to use. So we call that as a microservice. It's better if we create such kind of projects as a like separate service, so that we can use that in any of the like projects where there is no dependency. So this is how the cycle of microservice looks like. So first we plan and then we create that service and then we verify, we package it, we release, configure, test it, monitor it and again plan. This is a like infinity cycle. So like what's the difference between monolithic and this microservice architecture? So monolithic is like a single like database where every layer interacts with all other layers. Whereas this microservice architecture is independent of each layer and it won't affect even if we change or if we update anything. Whereas in monolithic, suppose like most of our like projects, what we do here is a monolithic. So where if you want to like change any API or if you want to change any service, we have to change and we have to re-release it. So it affects, like it might affect at other places also, where we have to verify it by testing it thoroughly. But whereas in microservice architecture, there's no need to bother about that. We just simply change at the layer where we are looking to like update or change. And it won't affect the other places because that's independent of other parts. So now let's go to the actual like angel framework. What exactly the angel is, what it provides, why this is growing like higher and higher these days. So first, so angel is highly extensible and it's a fully featured server-side framework which we build on Dart. So those who know Dart language, it's a very advantage for them to use this framework to like for creating microservices and APIs. And it has officially, the angel supports GraphQL, PostgreSQL ORMs and MongoDB, RethinkDB. So what is this? Like we know GraphQL, we know PostgreSQL, we know MongoDB, and what exactly this RethinkDB is? Does anyone know like what is RethinkDB and anyone used it? Those who are like more into JavaScript website, they might have known this. Alright, so this is a NoSQL DB in web, RethinkDB. So we used it less and like this was not as famous as like other DBs like GraphQL, MongoDB. But yes, there is a DB like NoSQL for the web. So request lifecycle, how does the angel framework's request lifecycle looks like? So we first call start server and all the HTTP requests are handled by handle request. What this handle request does is, so it converts HTTP request to request context as well as HTTP response to response context. So whereas we also have one part like in the request lifecycle, so one method is a angel route. So this will match the path of all the requests. So suppose if we are giving like suppose GeekyAnts.com / some first API something. So it will verify in all the routes where exactly this first API is there, whether it is there or not. If there, it will go there and it will navigate to that proper path. So angel route is responsible for matching all those paths. So we have output like HTTP response in two ways, in streams and in buffers. If it's a stream, then we have to continuously monitor it. If it's not a stream, we simply check whether all the responses promises came back or not. And after that, we will take the header, status code, response buffers, and everything from HTTP response, and we'll close the response. So this is the life cycle of Angel. So there's also middleware. What this middleware is and why is this useful in the Angel framework. So it has inbuilt middleware where we can apply authorization filters. Suppose say if we want to give any logins, so only access this API for particular logins. We can apply some Google login, Facebook login. We can use all the third-party libraries to give the authentication, to check the authentication. And also we can serialize the database data where suppose if we want to use a single set of data in multiple screens, we can use this middleware to serialize the data, whereas it will be very easy if we are serializing at the middleware to use in the children screens. And also we can accept the request. If we want to reject the request from a particular URL, we can check in the middleware itself and we can see if the URL is matching, we should just simply reject. Or if we want to accept a only particular single URL and reject all of we can do the same. So also to throw exceptions. If you want to throw any exceptions, we can use this middleware. So this is a sample code where authorization middleware and some other middlewares, whatever the middleware you want to use, you can declare it like this and you can use in the API path. And next, it also has controllers. So when it comes to controllers, this is an alternative to the routes. So routes in the sense the path, what we give. So GeekyAnts.com/first API, that's a path. So for that path, we have alternative of controllers where controllers use expose method, which internally again uses the same way how routes use. So this is an indirect way of mapping, but why this concept of controllers is introduced is to make MVC structure, because MVC is most commonly used structure. So to maintain that structure, they have this inbuilt controllers. And dependency injection. So if we have a single component with multiple dynamic values but a single component, and that needs to be used in different children, so then we simply inject whatever the dynamic data we need to send, but we will maintain only single code base, single file for that. We don't replicate the same code again and again. So that is dependency injection. Whereas hot reloading, this I think most of them are familiar with hot reloading. So if we want to while developing to make it faster, we use hot reloading, whereas we don't need to rebuild again. We just simply listen to the changes and we reflect those in the view. So we also have input validations. If you want to check whether the syntax is correct or wrong, so we'll check input validation using a package test. So also we have dynamic HTML template, JAEL. So this is a powerful server-side HTML template, which is mostly supported and used in Dart, and it also supports all the for loops, everything which was supported by the HTML, normal HTML. So jailability authentication. So we generally use authentication tokens to check whether the correct person is requesting it or not. So it also supports that. So Angel also have CLI tool where we can access all the commands and we can create APIs using console. And also it supports first-class client support to Web and Flutter, also for VM. So we can directly run these APIs in Web, in Flutter and VM. So it has the first-class support. So this is the example of how controllers, we'll create controllers. We just simply use expose method. So extends controller and we create the method whatever we need. So to access, suppose if I want to access login here, I just simply call /todos/login. So it will automatically go to that authentication part and it will navigate to that particular page. So what exactly this expose method is? So the same, it has the method type, the path, middleware, everything. So exactly how route structure is, that is taken by the expose, and expose is used by the controller and we extend simply controller. This is an indirect way, but the operation functionality is the same. And how do we create a static API? It's just very simple and very straightforward. In just 10 lines of code, we can create a single static API of get call or post or put anything. So this is the static API where we first call the Angel framework and we call Angel HTTP and we simply call get method by creating the path and whatever the response we want to give. And start server. As I told in the request lifecycle, start server is the first point. So now let's go to live preview. So I will show you how to create a new API. So we have a very good documentation for Angel Dart. So people can go to that URL and see the documentation where it has boilerplates for all the supported DBs. So first we activate the Angel CLI and we will create a project using the CLI. We can go into the project and we can create all the static APIs and also the dynamic APIs which were connected to the different databases. So we have activated the CLI. Now, so we just simply create. So Angel init will create a new Angel project in the same folder. If you want to create it a different place or separate place, then we go to that particular place and we will create whatever the name. So we'll choose what type we need, whether it's a PostgreSQL ORMs for the ORMs or for GraphQL or for shared one, is it sharing different projects or it's a normal basic one. So I will go with GraphQL because I will also show the example of GraphQL. So it is taking bit time because it needs to fetch data from server. Yeah, so it has successfully created boilerplate of Angel. So let's see how the folder structure is. So in the bin we have actual development and production. So we can link two different things and we can simply run using the if we want to we are developing, then we run develop.dart, and if it's production we link the production details here and we will run the production. So here this is the hot reloader. As I said, Angel is having hot reload. This is the plugin what we use for hot reload. So all the logos we will attach here, the framework, actual framework, and we'll configure the server, and also we configure what needs to be hot reloaded, what folders needs to listen, and we'll start server. So this is a normal print statement. So sorry, it's dev.dart. So I have started the server. So this is how it looks. Because the boilerplate is already having a route, default route, where it is rendering hello. We also have the views here. This hello is one of the view. As I said, it supports JEL templates. So we have here the template. So it is doing the same. Click here to access GraphQL. The same is being displayed here. So this is how the GraphQL default one will look like. Now let's quickly create some routes. If I want to access it, we can also use write. So it printed hello. Just like one line we have added, one API is done, one static API. We can also create post APIs, we can create, put, delete, all types of APIs. Like if it's a static API, then it's pretty much simple. And also like if it's a database API, the only time it consumes is to connect the connections between database and our framework. So but after creating the connections, it's just very simple how we create the static APIs. So I've already created couple of APIs. Let me first stop that server. So I've already created like Postgre, GraphQL. So let's first see the GraphQL. Okay. So the GraphQL server is started here. So this is the data, what I got from here. So I will show you like what I'm doing in the GraphQL server. So this is the common port what we have seen in the while we created the API, and now I'm creating a to-do service. It's a map service where the query type is this. So fields to do and listen, GraphQL field inputs, we are giving inputs, and then the object types, mutation, like I've assigned it to mutation type. So we are also giving the GraphQL again like new input type data here, and I'm like linking the schema of GraphQL, and I'm creating API where all can be like here, we can access all this here. So and I'm creating new I'm pushing data into the like GraphQL server, where this is like create. We use create to push the data into the GraphQL, where I've created 3, so that's why it displayed 3. 1, 2, 3. So again, like same start server and listen to this host, replace it. So this is like pretty much simple as how we do like for other DBs also. So now let's see PostgreSQL. So this is the data I am getting from the PostgreSQL. I'll show you what I've done here. See, I've inserted here. First I have dropped the table. If it is already existing, so for the safer side I've dropped it. Now I've added a query like to create the table. And after creating the table, I'm inserting the data using create command. So this is the text out of the fields I've given. I've added 3 and I've passed the same to the API. All the data is here. And we can now let's see like the static APIs what we have created. Like as I said, we can create post, we can create put, and also that like the main thing while developing APIs is like error handling. Error handling is like most valuable thing while developing APIs or any microservice. So it has Angel HTTP exceptions, which is the like parent class where we can use this to throw all type of errors. If we see like while developing, if we find like this is the wrong case, we can use HTTP exception, Angel HTTP exception, and we can throw whatever the error we are like looking into. So and this is the put, how we like create for the put. I'm taking some body and I'm displaying the same, sending that as a yeah. So this is how we have like, that's how it is, very much simple. So I think the live preview, I hope like sorry. So I hope that live preview is like very good and like most of you have seen that. With this, I'm closing the my presentation. I hope like you liked it.